have a look at the bracket yourselves, because we are here in a best of 3.
Indeed we are, and we are kicking it off on Data C. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way to the top right-hand corner. We have a blue Zerg player coming on from the land of Vietnam. He is, of course, going to be representing the Juggernaut. He is MeomaikA.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Data C, we have the American Terran player himself representing one of our very own, representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is Vindicta.
Now, Vindicta's TVP has definitely been put to the test in these past couple of days. He played against Mana, he played against Papi Joe, he just beat Petit Drogo a couple of hours ago to make it to this qualifying match, but he hasn't really been able to show off much of his TVZ yet.
Yeah,
that's what I'm curious about.
Exactly, especially because, let's be honest, Vindicta has been struggling a lot against Protoss. TVP is, I think he would agree, his worst matchup. It's so difficult that these tournaments are so Protoss heavy. As you were pointing out, he had to play against a lot of Protosses over the past 24 hours. But now he's up against something, what I would say usually is he's a little bit more comfortable against. But MeomaikA, he's anything but usual. He's not your standard Zerg player.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly to say the least. I recommend everybody watch the MeomaikA Hearthstone matches. We had 2 matches of them because there was a rematch going on there. Those were extra spicy, but at the same time, MeomaikA doesn't feel too comfortable in TVZ compared, or in ZVT compared to his ZVP. So yeah, this is definitely a matchup that's up in the air.
Yeah, definitely. And already he did go for a pool first opener. He only made 2 lings though, and with this he's able to get a kill on this SCV. Vindicta, because it was a pool first, he's going to be keeping his Reaper here at home to make sure that his CC doesn't get delayed. So this is like your usual response, but because of this, he won't be able to see what the follow-up is. We can see that MeomaikA, he didn't just get link speed, he is staying in gas. He is continuing to mine as much gas as possible.
Yeah, this is typically anyway signals the tech structure being thrown down after this, but we know it's MeomaikA we're talking about. It's probably going to be a fast layer.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if he does go for that layer as soon as he has the gas available for it. For the time being, he's just droning on up. He's delaying his 3rd hatchery as well, which again is just kind of what MeomaikA does. On the flip side of things though, Vindicta is going for a little bit of a 2-on-1.
Yeah, I'm liking this a lot. Very marine heavy opening coming out from Vindicta. I especially like this a lot more against MeomaikA in particular, who is generally very averse to building banelings. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he's not really known for his Ling Bane control specifically. Meanwhile, the Reaper comes back in, confirms the scout, sees that gas is being mined. Oh, he's trying to keep, oh my god. The Reaper stays alive a little bit longer, but up.
Neat little micro trick you can do to keep the Zerglings at bay, but unfortunately Queens do have long range. It's a Baneling Nest?
Oh my.
He's playing standard?
God, interesting.
MeomaikA's normal?
You say standard. He also has a hidden Evo chamber behind the mineral line. Something that's interesting is that he never pulled out a gas, but he didn't really use that gas. We can see he's banking up quite a bit. Because of this, he will already have enough for, say, +1 carapace once this Evo chamber finishes up, so he will be able to make use of it. And there we go. He goes straight for it.
Yeah, I was half expecting MeomaikA from here to just double down, you know, with all of this gas, get +1 melee, and go for a full-on Bane Bust, but he has calmed down a little bit since last night.
Yeah, he has. We do see that Vindicta actually scanned his opponent, scanned the natural base. He saw the tech, he saw the Baneling Nest, as well as the Evo Chamber researching. As you were saying, like, I mean, this does kind of look like +1 melee, so it looks like, again, a mass Ling Bane aggression from MeomaikA, but this isn't really going to stop Vindicta. You know, his drop is going to be on the way soon, Medivacs are coming out, Stim is on the way, he's going to be active on the map, and he could deal a lot of damage, but MeomaikA isn't necessarily droning up right now.
Oh yeah, he has done nothing but hold down that Z key for the past couple of seconds. 20 lings are on the way for I can't do math. It's way too early for math. He's got a lot of lings, and he's gonna have a lot of banelings pretty soon as well.
Yeah,
is my point.
Exactly. I mean, MeomaikA realized, hey, there aren't any Hellions being active out on the map. He knows that it's going to be a 2-on-1. He is getting ready for it. He's going to be well set up for it, especially because of this carapace. He's going to be able to even counterattack as well. He has plenty of gas to work with, and we see the link flood, and the wall is not a wall.
They're pretty far from it, yeah. The Lings are able to block the retreat of these SCVs. The Widowmites unable to really get their shots off. Vindicta forced to pull back his entire drop to clean this out, and he will clean it up, but not before sustaining five SCV casualties and also just stifling his aggression.
Yeah, I mean, this forced the drop to come all the way back home. He also forced a little lost mining time here at the natural base as well. This wasn't too bad for MeomaikA, but it was, at the same time, we'll see how he can get away. Yeah. +1 carapace is finishing up. He's not stopping the link flood, by the way. He ignores the drop. He does spot it, and Vindicta once again is forced to turn around.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out now for MeomaikA. He's getting a couple of banelings to try to bust on through, but we do have some Widow Mines getting set up. A bunker is on the way.
Yeah, bearing in mind that Vindicta did spot all these banelings being morphed in. He's getting ready for the bust. How good is the target fire? The banelings are waddling in. Oh! Ooh.
But they are slowlings. They're completely unable to connect with anything right now. MeomaikA, quick reaction, pulls away, but he's leaving his baneling so exposed.
Yeah. Oh, the banelings go down. The bane bust is not going to happen. Meanwhile, MeomaikA is so on top of his upgrades. He went for a second Evo chamber. He's going straight into +2 carapace as well. His Ling Bane is going to be ideal here. Incredibly well upgraded. And once again, he just avoids the Metamax, and he's going for another run by it.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten to the point where MeomaikA is comfortable with his economy. He's on 4 bases, starting to get that saturated up. So he's got plenty of army supply that he's throwing around pretty liberally. He's splitting up his Lings to defend and attack at the same time.
Yeah, he hasn't been droning, but you could argue maybe he doesn't need to, especially if he deals too much damage. Oh my god, the Widow shots go off!
And they get a massive chunk of the Zerglings. The Banelings will be able to force an opening here, but will he get much more behind this? MeomaikA, he's continuing to flood, and there's not a lot of defensives left here. Vindicta getting surrounded on the other side of the map as well.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The Lings, they're breaking on through on the other side of the map. As you were saying, it's only pure Lings, but with +1 carapace, they do survive a little bit longer. They are being cleaned up. MeomaikA has broken through the natural base, but he cannot break through into the main. But, yo, 17 SCVs went down.
Yeah. I was gonna say, he's dealt plenty of damage in the natural base. He's never allowed Vindicta to land at 3rd base either.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, Vindicta... Okay, nah, there are just far too many Lings here. He cannot break on through. He almost got the hatchery, but almost is not enough. And there are still Lings here in the natural base. Oh my god, the upgrades are exposed.
They're so exposed right now, but the Marines should be able to keep them alive. So Vindicta will be fighting on equal footing when it comes to the upgrades. Or he should be fighting on equal footing pretty soon.
Yeah, in a couple of seconds he will be, but again, the Lings, they just don't stop coming, and they get into the natural base. Oh, Widowmine shot. Oh, little bit of friendly fire there.
Not ideal. The Banelings aren't quite able to connect. The upgrades did equalize, and some really good target firing as well coming out from Vindicta, but we've gotten to the point, Light. I think you know this as the resident Zerg player. MeomaikA is so comfortable with his economy. He is just holding down the Z key and flooding full force. Yeah, it's so interesting to see because it's not an amazing economy, let's be real here, but he doesn't need to be. He doesn't need an amazing economy just because of how devastating the SCV count is looking like for Vindicta. He's down to 26 workers. Look, he doesn't need an amazing economy. He's comfortable with where he's at, you know? Yeah. Very comfortable with himself. Between 50 and 60 drones is all that he needs, and he just keeps going for these Ling run-bys. +2 carapace is done, +2 melee is on the way. I believe we saw an infestation pit to potentially go into a hive. These drops, they keep trying to do some damage. Vindicta has tried so desperately to be active on the map, but every single time he moves out, MeomaikA forces him to come back home. Yeah, and the thing is, I do think that his drops have pretty much been the most successful thing that's been going his way this game, but MeomaikA, man, he has just been finding ways to stifle the drops over and over again. That was a very efficient trade, though. Yeah. As expendable as Lings are, if you lose too many of them, it does stack up.
I just worry that MeomaikA Vindicta is running out of steam a little bit, like because of his economic state right now. He just doesn't have that many Marines to work with. Even though you're correct, he has been trading very efficiently with these drops. Like, how efficient can you really get when your economy is in the gutter the way it is?
Well, as much as you can, I guess.
Yeah,
you need to make sure that you literally don't lose a single unit, and when you're playing this Marine heavy, yeah, it's just not exactly possible. A little bit of friendly fire once again. MeomaikA is flooding on through. These Widow Mines are in such a long cooldown now to reset.
They really are. Meanwhile, the drops, it looks like Vindicta will get one hatchery for his troubles and maybe get a couple of queens. You know, this drop here towards the north is going a little bit unhindered, but there we go. So you have the rest of the links coming on in. Ooh.
I like what Vindicta did there. You know, he didn't waste the Widow Mine by borrowing it too early. He waited until he could entrap the Lings on top of it.
Yeah, and even here, the drop into the main base is going to get a queen. Oh, loses a medevac in the process, though. And again, he's still on one base economy. He has 3 CCs, but he's never been able to get his third up and running.
Yeah, mind you, 3 CCs, only 2 of them are orbital commands.
Yeah.
It's not like he can mule up like you know, a Terran player would want to do in a scenario like this.
And I feel like this may be the nail in the coffin here, as MeomaikA is just flooding more and more Lings across the map. Once again, the natural base is completely forfeit. The mines are resetting.
It's gonna get friendly fire. The Banelings got wiped out.
Yeah, the Lings, again, the juiciest mining connections. 28 kills on this mine here on top of the ramp. 39 on the bottom of the ramp as well. The mines have been insane, but it's still not enough.
Yeah, if Vindicta can get a couple more efficient trades, then he might be able to equalize, but I don't see that happening any time at all. There's one timeline where Meigs is able to pull that off, and I'm not convinced it's this one.
We'll see, mate. Unfortunately, okay, here we go. He's going for a Widow Mine drop, and maybe that'll do well for him, I guess. Copium, the wall is still not a wall, so he's still vulnerable. Hive is done. We have 3-3 on the way, as well as an Ultra Cavern. And something else that happened in the midst of all this is that both NG bays were sniped. So Vindicta, he's on 1-1, and he's going to be stuck on 1-1 for the rest of this game.
He's going to have 1-1 Widow Mines and Marines against Ultralisks that are on 3-3 and will have chitinous plating as well. It's the most that's the most massive imbalanced matchup, I think. Like the discrepancy. There we go. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite large. It's quite large indeed. I mean, the Ling Runby is going to try and come in. This time we have 3 Widow Mines here back at home. A couple more drones are going down. 10 drones in total. Not bad. Oh god, but once those ultras rock up, I don't know if Vindicta can ever have an answer to them with just pure Marine Widow Mine.
Look, if you split well enough, right? You isolate the Ultralisk, you let the Widow Mines clean out the Ling Bane, and then you just keep kiting and splitting against the Ultras.
Sure, yeah.
Look at that! That was a juicy connection. But I think this connection of Banelings is a little bit juicier. Yeah,
the Banelings, they break on into the main base. They finally get into the mineral line in the main base as well. There are just not enough Marines. The Widow Mines have been taken out as well. There's just too much Ling Bane. We don't even need Ultras at this stage of the game. Vindicta, he's holding on. Again, his tournament life is on the line right now in this best of 3, so he's doing the best that he can. There's only so much he can do.
Yeah, keep in mind, even though there is going to be at least one more map after this, Vindicta can still, you know, try to do whatever he can, metagame it a little bit in a way. You know, try to tire MeomaikA out.
Yeah.
As the series goes on. GG is called, and Meo will take game 1.
MeomaikA will take game number 1 there in a very interesting game as well. It wasn't the usual cheese that we see from MeomaikA. We both expected an earlier lair, but no, instead, MeomaikA went for an earlier Evo Chamber instead and just went Mass Ling, and yeah, it was a very unusual style, but it worked.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even sure I'd necessarily classify this as a cheese. It was very aggressive coming out from MeomaikA. He was flooding Lings over and over and over again, but you know, it's not like he was relying on that surprise factor or anything. It's not like he was doing what he normally does, which was try to fry his opponent's brain with weird stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to say the least. It's just interesting that he would mix things up in such a
In such a fashion, yeah.
yeah, in such a fashion. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the fact that it was really interesting to see like the dichotomy of the two builds, because Vindicta went for a 2-on-1, he was feeling pressure to be active on the map with his drops, but because he kept moving out, like he kept leaving his bases vulnerable, you know, he didn't have any Hellions to help defend, the Marines clearly weren't enough either. Yeah, it was really interesting how that kind of played out.
And now we'll see if we have something similar in map number 2.
As we are loading on in. As a reminder, again, this is not a best of 5, this is a best of 3 series. The loser is eliminated from Valencia. The winner moves on to the playoffs.
And we'll see who that's gonna be, as in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner of inside and out, not outside, just out, we have our red Terran player coming on from the land of San Diego, California, all the way here in sunny Spain, representing our very own team, the Cranky Ducklings. He is Vindicta. Get your mates.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside Out ESL, we have the Vietnamese Zerg player himself representing the Juggernauts. It is MeomaikA.
Once again, opting for a bit of a safety pool first in a way, but I'm not sure if it's really for safety in MeomaikA's case.
That's the thing, right? We've seen MeomaikA go pool first into Roach pushes, pool first into Ling Floods, pool first into just Queens and just taking a natural base and not really doing too much with it. I don't think I've ever seen him not go for a pool first in ZVT.
Yeah, it's just part of his DNA now.
Yeah, it's just what he's comfortable with, And you could argue, hey, you know, it hinders your economy, right? But MeomaikA, like, he views his economy in a different way, you know? It's, again, like, that solid macro style isn't really his MO. It's not really what he goes for. He has his own kind of twist to things.
He really does. And sometimes they work, sometimes they do not.
Yeah, we saw last night we were able to cast Clem versus MeomaikA, and Clem was just a solid wall. He just played relatively defensively, just absorbed whatever MeomaikA threw at him, and then just, yeah, went for big counterattacks afterwards. Or sometimes he wouldn't even need to.
Yeah. He was out of the venue like 4 hours before anyone else was.
Yeah, God, he got so much sleep.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
Well, I hope he did.
Oh, God. But for the time being, you know, we didn't really have anything too crazy going on. Vindicta did go for an SCV scout. He confirmed the pool first opener with that SCV. And now with the Reaper, he can dance, he can poke, he can prod. He can confirm that you're probably going to take a late third again.
Yeah, all signs point to yes. From what Vindicta can see. And speaking of Vindicta, he is switching things up quite a bit this game. He isn't going for a 2-on-1. He is, well, I say that, but yeah, he is still going for a 2-on-1. But he's not just, but I feel like it's a little bit, I could be misremembering, which is very possible considering how much sleep I've gotten. But I feel like in the previous game, Vindicta prioritized the second racks before the factory, right?
Yeah, I was also assuming that he would switch things up and go into a 1-1-1 instead, but it looks like he feels like, you know, maybe if he course corrected a little bit more in the previous game, he could make something more happen with the 2-1-1, maybe just play it a little bit more defensively instead. There's always a lot of potential here with it, you know, with the earlier Marines, with the earlier stim, there's a lot of firepower available to you, so looks like he wants to try this out again.
That's, yeah, that's a very common kind of way of thinking, I believe, which is something that I do as well. It's like, okay, I don't really need to change so much. I just need to do what you did, but better.
Yeah. And I'm really curious about this response from MeomaikA, by the way, because just like he did previously, he never pulled out of gas. Ooh, this time, okay, a little bit of a faster lair, but he did go for an Evo Chamber and a Baneling Nest, and I have to wonder if this is directly because he sees no Hellions, and this may be his preferred way to play against 2-1-1.
Yeah, well, you're generally going to need a ton of Zerglings to be able to hold against all the Marines that the Terran players throwing out at you. Interestingly enough, Vindicta is prioritizing a tank this time. he's still going to be safe.
Yeah, I kind of like this. He's working on his wall as well. The wall is being slowed down, though, by MeomaikA being very active with these lings. He's making a flood of lings behind this as well. +1 carapace is on the way, as well as that lair. MeomaikA, once again, is coming across the map, and the wall is currently not a wall.
But there is a tank in position. One good volley will completely wipe the floor of these banelings, and I'm definitely with you, Light. What Vindicta is doing right now does slow down his, medevac push, but he knows that if he tries to go for that anytime soon, he is just opening himself up to get ling flooded.
Yeah, and I love this, right? We did see Vindicta basically adapt a little bit. He adapted his build slightly to MeomaikA's aggression, and now he's fully walled off. He has a tank on the high ground. His marines are chilling, and sure, his medevacs are later than they would like to be, but it's worth it in the end because this time Vindicta, he's safe on 2 bases.
Yeah, pretty solid with the wall going down there. Especially with the tank. But because of this, MeomaikA, he's also kind of thinking, alright, well, you've kind of given up the map control for the time being, so I'm going to do what I don't normally do, what I don't really like doing. Get a 4th base.
I thought you were going to say drone, but yes, both of those
and
things.
Drone, yes.
Exactly. MeomaikA, he saw the tank, he respects the position, and he backs off. He's macroing on up instead. With that faster lair, he's going into baneling speed. He's going to be working on +1 behind this as well, I imagine, or maybe even just straight into +2 carapace. I love how active he is with these links. Because of it, he catches the medevac drop as well. So Vindicta is going to have to be playing this out a little bit more passively, but it does lean towards a longer game, and I want to favor Vindicta in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a MeomaikA historically has not enjoyed the late game too much. He has said that he's been trying to practice it quite a bit more ever since he started playing Age of Empires, but that hasn't really been tested in a big tournament setting, especially not in the CBT.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be able to see here. Maybe in this series if we do end up going that long. What's interesting is that there was a second scan that Vindicta threw down in the main base of MeomaikA. He is very paranoid about what MeomaikA could be doing. Unfortunately, he didn't scan the natural, so he's unaware of that it is just straight up ling bane. I mean, I guess it's a bit of a tell because he sees that there were no additional gases taken in the main base either. So that was at least some information that he gathered. And finally, he's moving out with his drop.
He is, but he's being intercepted by all these lings every time.
He's trying to be active with on the map with his drop is what I should be saying. The lings, especially with +1 carapace, like they just dive on top of those marines. They can't really do too much. They haven't even been able to stop the creep spread, and that's something we should also mention. MeomaikA, he's spreading creep.
What? This isn't Meo.
The changed man. Europe does something. It does things to you, mate.
Evidently, yeah. Look, when in Rome, I think is the saying. Spread creep.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Pretty much. I mean, again, MeomaikA's done such a great job of being active with these lings. There's been no 3rd base because of it. It's just been turtling up on 2 bases. What's important, though, as he's being active with these drops, as he's trying to clear up some creep, he did scan and he confirmed the infestation pit. This should tell him that, okay, MeomaikA, it looks like he wants to go straight up ling bane, straight into hive, most likely straight into ultras again.
Yeah, we'll see how well this works out for MeomaikA now. I like this a lot from Vindicta. He is getting a couple of liberators to round off his army.
Yeah, liberators on the way, drilling claws as well. I do worry for him a little bit. I do worry that his 3rd base is going to be a little bit too late. For the time being, again, just poking, prodding wherever he can, picking off a couple of drones. To be fair, 2 drones going down here at the 3rd.
Nice kill, yeah. And inside and out, it has one of those classic features that I love in a map for drop play of 3rd base and a main base. They're very close to each other by air, very far apart by land.
Exactly. Speaking of, we see a massive ling bane run by. No, the wall is no longer a wall because the CC got picked up.
And the banelings are crashing into just about everything. Vindicta is trading pretty decently well, but he's still going to lose his entire mineral line, even more SCVs behind that, a couple of bio units, a couple of tanks as well. He's down to 2 tanks? 2 tanks. Oh no.
I am shocked by what just happened. The moment Vindicta, he took his sweet time expanding and taking the CC, and as soon as he does take it, MeomaikA, he sends literally his entire army across the map. The wall was left wide open because of the CC, and suddenly just everything is on fire. Everything goes down, and MeomaikA has the freedom to work on his 3-3, to get his Hive up and running, to get his Ultra Cavern up and running as well. Vindicta has to stay home.
Man, MeomaikA was so quick with to recognize that this DC was flowing. It's like, oh, target locked. That means you don't have a wall.
I guess so. Meanwhile, Liberators are rocking up as well, and they get 3 drone kills. We see another bit of a double drop headed towards the main base as well. Vindicta doing whatever he can to keep MeomaikA busy at home while he does finally get his 3rd base up and running. God, but again, we're 10 minutes into the game, and MeomaikA, he's up on bases. He's working on his 5th.
He's up on bases. He's working on his 5th. Adrenal glands is, it has started. He might not even get the Ultra Cavern. He's even getting a bunch of spores here just to shore up his defenses.
Yeah, I think he recognizes that, hey, nothing shoots up right now for MeomaikA. He doesn't make a lot of queens. He has Ling Bane. What am I vulnerable to? Drops. So let's just spore the hell up as much as I can.
Drops and lip harass, but he's already dealt with one of these drops. So, yeah, Vindicta pushing out with everything he's got. He's got a very, honestly, a very good army against Ling Bane specifically. Can definitely get a lot of efficient trades with the Widow Mines, but the upgrade advantage of MeomaikA is really, it's really evident right now.
Exactly. Mio just has no fear. He just runs everything across the map. He knows that the majority of the supply of Vindicta were in these drops, by the way, so he gets into the middle line, going to get a couple more SCVs at the same time. Drop comes across the map, but it gets cleaned up.
Ouch. I do like the Widow Mines, so that are cloaked and will reset. Continue to get a little bit of damage, but there is detection now. Or is there?
I guess there's 2 mines remaining here. Liberators rock up, but the queens are already in position. The first Liberator does get taken. That second one is going to deal a little bit more damage. And we do have a drop moving out across the map here for Vindicta, but does he have enough to break through all this Ling Bane?
Well, I don't think he really has to. All he needs to do is really distract that army while his Liberator gets more worker kills, or did get more worker kills as, yeah, it did just get cleaned up. Very efficient trade there with the Widowmine, a very juicy hit.
Yeah, and you know what? The Banelings aren't done yet, so the Banelings going to be focused on one after the other here by Vindicta. At the same time, another double drop towards the bottom right-hand corner of the map as well. He's going to get a kill or a cancel on that base. He picks up and goes straight into the main.
The main! The main!
The main! The main!
The main! The main! But does it give MeomaikA a little bit of time to regroup, unfortunately?
Yeah, it does. And with that, it looks like MeomaikA, without those Banelings, he taps out.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, yeah. I guess he... Oh, yeah, I just looked at the supply towards the end there. Mm-hmm. He was down to about 40 army supply versus Vindicta, who had way more, so that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, it definitely feels like MeomaikA could have extended that game a little more, but it would have been delaying the inevitable. GG, Vindicta brings us to the ace match.
GG. So something that we saw there towards the end was the fact that MeomaikA had no Banelings ready. He was trying to morph them in, but again, that was very late. He was working with pure Lings against like pretty effective drops, as we saw, and yeah, there was just like this awkward moment where he didn't have any Banelings ready. He couldn't really handle those drops, even though he had a good economy, and even though he had like a higher tier of tech as well, and he had a decent bank. He knew that things were going to snowball, and just like that, yeah, we're tied up. That was a kind of odd end to the game, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, a little bit anticlimactic, but yeah, it really goes to show you in a TVZ like that, you can survive, as long as you survive taking that economic damage. If you just trade as efficiently as possible, eventually the Zerg player is gonna run out of steam.
Yeah, I gotta believe a little bit more in the man with gun, mate. Not gonna lie, like, oh god. Yeah, an interesting turn of events there towards the end. GG, well played. Vindicta, he fights back, and now he's still in this. We're going all the way to the ace match, game number 3. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know which way this is gonna go, mate. I don't know. I'm scared, puppy. I'm scared.
I don't know, and I don't know if I want to know.
Yeah.
as we load on in and conclude this best of 3 qualifying match here on Tropical Sacrifice. Over here in the top right hand corner, map swinging all the way in the top right hand corner, we have the red Terran player coming out all the way from California, USA. Gonna be representing our very own team, the Cranky Ducklings. He is Vindicta.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice ESL, we have the Vietnamese Zerg player himself. He is blue, representing the Juggernauts. It is MeomaikA.
Yeah, I don't know how this series is gonna end, and I'm not really sure I want to, because it is gonna be, no matter what the result, it's a little bit bittersweet, personally.
Yeah, like, personally, what I will...
both of these players.
Yeah, for those who don't know, obviously, we're a little bit biased here. Like, we are both, I guess, technically team owners of the Cranky Ducklings, which is...
I don't have any stock.
You know? so I felt a little bit weird saying that. Both of us are a part of the Cranky Ducklings, I should say, and Vindicta is, of course, representing us. But at the same time, MeomaikA is kind of like a pseudo Cranky Duckling in the way. Like, we've been able to see his rise over the past couple of years. We've been watching him in all these weekly tournaments, and he's been doing really well for himself. And personally, I want them both to do well in this tournament. It's just such a shame that because of the seeding, because of the admins, they had to face each other.
Shaking my head.
Oh my god. Oh my god!
And MeomaikA is switching it up quite a bit, or is he? Because that's definitely a very suspicious place to position your it your Roach Warren.
But was it too suspicious?
I think it was. I think it was too obvious.
Yeah,
that it was a bait.
Exactly. So for those who didn't notice, we did see a pull first opener. We did see a Roach Warren follow up, but the Roach Warren was just right in front of the ramp. So the SCV just spotted it immediately. It wasn't like there was no attempt to hide it at all.
And I think it was after the hatchery got thrown down as well. So, you know, Vindicta is he is taking precautions. He is throwing down that bunker, but he has not really taken the bait. It was a very obvious bait, to say the least.
Yeah, and the reason for that as well is that the Reaper this time didn't stay at home. He went across the map immediately. He had no fear about Lings coming across the map and delaying his CC or anything like that. He's a lot more concerned with scouting. And because of this, he's going to get into the main base. He should be able to confirm whether or not the Roach Warren was cancelled.
And he should be shaking his head right now, thinking, this guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
So Vindicta, he did not fall for it. MeomaikA, again, trying to mind game his opponent a little bit here, going for a faster third, faster than we usually see from MeomaikA. He's joining up, and now the game is going to return to normalcy a little bit.
Yeah, somewhat, which I'm not sure if that's where MeomaikA really wants to go here, especially considering this is his weakest matchup. And I feel like this is also where Vindicta kind of excels a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see, because again, we've seen just really interesting games already in this series. Once again, we see the same responses. Vindicta is going for a 2-1-1 and back at home as he gets a full scout off. MeomaikA responds once again with his Evo Chamber and his Baneling Nest.
Yeah, if it ain't fixed, don't break it, and that's exactly what MeomaikA is looking to do here. Vindicta, though, has switched things up significantly. It's still a 2-on-1, but he's going for Hellions this time.
I like this. I love the variance here from Vindicta, switching things up. I imagine this is to go for a 2-on-1 combined with a Hellbat push. And against Ling Bane, this can do really well, especially if it goes unscattered. And something that we have to bear in mind is that MeomaikA hasn't really been scouting too well. Like, he confirms what the opener is at least, and that is it. He's not really too concerned with getting into the main base with his overlords.
Yeah, he sees the bunker and that ramp, and that kind of signals to him, okay, he's playing this out a bit more defensively. That could not be further from the truth, MeomaikA, because we see Vindicta has thrown down that armory.
Yep. Exactly, it is the Hellbat push. And again, MeomaikA, what's important is that these Hellions have been hidden. They have been kept here in between the bases, and Lings have only been like poking and prodding at the front door, so he doesn't know.
Yeah, and he's not gonna know for quite some time. Spore crawlers are being thrown down because MeomaikA isn't entirely sure
He's droning.
what's coming his way, but yeah, I think that might just kill him.
I am shocked. The Hellions were just revealed, by the way, but I'm shocked that this is the game where MeomaikA drones the hell up 55 workers against a 2-1-1. He's insane. He was working off of 2 lings this entire time, by the way. Finally, he makes another wave of lings, but he makes another wave of drones. Why is he droning? What?
Why is he droning? Yeah, he doesn't have that many queens either. I think Vindicta just rolls over him.
We'll see, because, okay, so obviously I feel like MeomaikA, he's playing with his reputation right now. He's like, I continue to just link flood, and now my opponent is gonna respect that. And because of that, Vindicta, he's taking his time moving out. The Hellions have been kept at home because he's scared of a ling run by. So he's actually not hitting with his Hellbats.
And these mind games are way too complex for me to understand. Like,
yeah.
Take me back to basics. Okay, man with gun, go boom boom, pew pew.
There was a lot of potential here if Vindicta hit his timing, but again, because he's so paranoid, because MeomaikA has been so aggressive this entire series, he keeps the majority or the rest of his army back at home instead.
And MeomaikA doing MeomaikA things that we're all used to.
The
Hydraling Bane, prioritizing muscular augments.
Exactly, it's crazy. MeomaikA is working on the 4th base. His drone count is looking quite healthy compared to what we've seen in the past. Oh my god, 66 drones essentially. He's going into Hydra Ling with Banelings. You love to see it.
Yeah, my question is, though, how much larva does Meo have to work with right now?
And was he still too greedy?
Yeah, because now Vindicta's pushing in with everything he's got, and it's a very powerful army. There's plenty of firepower. Banelings do connect with the Hellbats, and we are able to clean them out, but here come the Marines, and there's nothing threatening them at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, Vindicta still he reinforces the rest of his army. He goes across the map. There are only Queens and Hydras right now. This is not a good trade for MeomaikA, but it looks like it is barely enough to push away Vindicta.
Yeah, with the defender's advantage with the reinforcing Zerglings, Vindicta knows he can't really break MeomaikA yet. He's traded pretty efficiently, so might as well kind of quit when he's ahead, regroup, and go for round 2, like so.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Round 2 is on the way. 3rd CC is done behind this as well. We'll see if Vindicta can break on through. What's important is that these Widowmines did survive the first wave, so now they're going to have a couple more shots available to them, and there are no Banelings ready for this.
Yeah, only now they're starting to be made. And they're going to be slow Banelings as well. MeomaikA trying to utilize the friendly fire, and actually, he actually able to make it work in his favor.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw there were 4 Widowmines in total. Only 2 shots went off. The other 2 were focused down before anything could really happen. Very impressive defense there by MeomaikA. He did have detection with his army, so he was able to do so. And he defends with very little, and now he's getting away with this. Again, droning up even more. MeomaikA, like with a healthy economy, I never thought I'd see the day.
A 5th base?
A 5th base, Yaku!
A 5th base and creep tumors connecting it all?
Oh my god.
Is this Meo?
He's a changed man, mate.
He's been reformed.
He has been reformed. He's moving out across the map with his entire army. Upgrades already lined up with this as well. Bailey Speed going to finish up in a couple of seconds, as well as Groove Spines. Vindicta is decently set up. I'm loving the tank positioning, but he's more set up here to defend against a push towards a ramp, not so much from the south.
Yeah, that's really what he has to worry about right now, especially if he moves down the ramp. He is, though. Okay. Yeah. He's still safe.
Oh, I love this. He's throwing down a bunker in the backline as well to cover this area, but is it a little bit too late? That is the question. MeomaikA making another wave of Banelings behind this. He wants to crash on in. He is done droning.
Yeah, he's not that changed in that way. He's droned up as much as he could earlier on so that he never has to drone again. Tanks are starting to get reset a little bit. Only 1 tank remaining, but there aren't that many. I spoke too soon. I was going to say there aren't that many Banelings. But here come a whole wall of them.
Yeah,
rocking up.
The Banelings are real. Every single tank was focused down as well. The 3rd base is completely forfeit, and the Hydras are just going to hunt it down.
Hydras are going to hunt it down. The Lingbane are going to hunt down the stray SCVs. Run, SCVs!
Oh.
Medevacs, you need to get here. You need to evacuate them.
They're here, but they can't run away far enough. The SCVs are all going to get taken down. The army of Vindicta is moving up. But again, there's plenty of Lingbane waiting for him. He can't push.
Great trap. Now being sprung here by MeomaikA, luring out the rest of the army. And now he had an entire worker count is in shambles.
Oh my god.
Every single Zergling was turned into a Baneling here because MeomaikA can afford it. I never thought I'd say those words, but MeomaikA can't afford it.
He can, mate. Another massive wave of banelings on the way. The tank count was reset earlier, so now we do have a couple more tanks on the way. We do see Vindicta's going to try and go for some drops. I don't blame him, but this does mean that his defenses back at home are going to be that much weaker.
Yeah, they really are, and those two drops can really do a lot, but so can this entire push. The banelings are actually being body blocked by the Hydras, but it doesn't